All right, it is 5:04 p.m. We're reconvening into the open session, Western Hills Water District meeting of the Board of Directors, Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. And we are at point 5, motion approving the consent calendar. All matters listed hereunder shall be acted upon by a single vote of the board. There will be no individual discussion of these items unless a member of the board or the public requests, in which event the matter shall be removed from the consent calendar and considered as a separate agenda item. So approval of the July 2021 checks and warrants and approval of the minutes for the regular meeting, July 14th, 2021, and the special meeting, July 28th, 2021. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, moving to the action items. Consideration and approval of resolution number 2021-14, resolution of the Western Hills Water District regarding approval of expenditures of approximately $50,000 of Diablo Grande Community Facility District Number 1 Melrose bonds refinance proceeds for the payment of immediate Western Hills Water District expenses. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and then point B, consideration and approval of the amount not to exceed $5,000 to relocate, clean, and prepare the Western Hills Water District office near the water treatment plant. This again is for the movement of Ashley up to the treatment plant. Ron, do you want to talk a little bit about this and what you're doing with that trailer and what you've already done to the trailer?
Well, we have moved the trailer up there, and upon moving it, one of the windows broke. It's a 35-foot trailer by 12-foot wide. The flooring in it is pretty tore up, so we'll need to redo the flooring. Half of the wall plugs did not work in the building, so and upon troubleshooting it, I found that when the trailer was originally built, they had put a nail through the electrical wire. So in the insulation, there's a big old burn mark. We're lucky the building didn't burn. So we had 2 plugs work there. I've since fixed that. And then we're gonna put new roof tiles, and then we need to put a coating on the top of the roof because I was told by one of my employees that it does leak, just it drips. So we will need to fix that. And that is included in this amount of money.
And you're pretty much, you guys are doing all of the labor, correct?
Yes, the employees will be doing all the labor.
So this is basically for materials.
Yes, sir.
Right. And on top of this price, I just want the board to know that we will have the approximately 4,500 to 5,000 that we will have to pay to have the other trailer that is currently down, that Ashley's currently using, the current office. It's going to have to be removed, so we don't have to continue to pay rent on that. And there is like a $4,500 because they have to, discombobulate it all and get it moved out. So that will be a price coming in the future. I just want you guys to know that this cost has only to deal with the trailer up at the plant and the refurbishing of it. So any questions from the board?
What are we looking at in terms of savings for doing
Mark,
this? Just for our
we're
general
about a
information.
$3,000 a month savings. Am I correct, Mark?
It's all contingent upon the Frontier bill, which we're still working on. Right now, we're paying Frontier about $3,200 a month. I'm hoping after the analysis, once we get the Tesco system up and working, then I could get the Frontier bill down from $3,200. I'm hoping to about between $600 and $700. So it could be as high as $4,000 to $5,000 per month. Once it's said.
But for the trailer alone is $1,000 a month that we won't be paying for.
That's right. I think the actual rent's $1,200, Matt, for the trailer.
Okay, it's somewhere. Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So that amount will be saved.
Yep.
Telephones at that location will be saved.
Yes.
And then insurance for that trailer will be saved. And I think just alone we're around 2,000 just in that. That's not even bringing up the whole Tesco thing and all of that. That's going to be an added bonus
That's
when
right.
that situation is resolved.
Cool.
That's right.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Any questions from the public regarding the trailer? Okay, so a motion to approve the amount of not to exceed $5,000 to relocate, clean, and prepare the office near the treatment plant. Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, reports. So in your packet, everybody, there is the budget. This is an extremely rough addition, a rough estimate of the budget. We still have Mark that's going to be going over this budget, and there's still, this is just a rough process, but I wanted something to come out in tonight's meeting, get something in all the directors' hands, and even we're going to flash it up here for the community to look at. So there's going to be a screen grab so the community can kind of see roughly what we're looking at. And Ron, you're going to kind of go through it. I know that some of the fees are the same from as before, but I know that there's been some changes, and then you have a capital budget that I want you to talk to us about. And then again, this is not an approval budget or anything. This is just the first budget. We're getting into the hands of everybody. And then we're going to be now marking it up and changing things, and then we'll be discussing it next month. So Chris, if you can throw up the PDF for the folks to see, and then Ron, you can take it from there.
Sure thing. Krista, can you make me a co-host? There we go. Thank you. And here we go. It's probably kind of small. I apologize for that. It's just the only way we can fit it on the screen. How's that look?
Looks good.
Okay.
Good.
So not as Matt was stating, there's not a lot of changes on this budget. We have increased a few of the main things. This is actually the first budget that I've ever had to do for the district. So like Matt said, it is a rough budget. We just went through and I went over some stuff that I had found, and we increased, like, we put stuff in here for like the generator maintenance at each one of the lift stations. We increased that so they could do load tests and stuff that haven't been done in a while. The pump stations, we are in the process of upgrading those. My copy is really small too, and I'm getting old.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, so I think it would be easier, is if you guys have any questions, we can talk about the questions, but overall, it's a pretty straightforward budget. There's not, I mean, the district doesn't have a lot of money, so we're not doing a lot. We're gonna do it on the bare minimum of what we have. The capital improvement budget that I have, there are some things in there that I'm requesting, and a couple of them are things that we pretty much don't have a choice in the matter, that the state is coming down and telling us that we have to do it. That one would be the, do you have that slide, Chris? For the
Sure.
capital-
Let's
the
see
capital,
here.
that one.
There we
right
go.
there, that one. Okay, so you see the first thing there, the EQ clean out, tank clean out. That is the tank when we backwash, the water goes into that tank, and at the current time right now, that tank hasn't been cleaned out in probably, I would say, at least 10 years. And getting water out of the aqueduct, the dirt and the mud and the silt and everything out of the aqueduct, that tank is full of tulies. We've went in there before and tried to pull them out, and it's not doable. So we have to have a company come in with excavators, and they'll sit there and reach in and grab all that stuff out. And then once they get the tulies out of the tank, they will actually have big vacuums that they get in there, and they suck all the mud and stuff out of the tanks. and we will dispose of it's mud. It's been tested. There's no metals or nothing in the mud, so we can dispose of it on our property.
Awesome.
And then the other items that are on there, the VFDs. Right now, we're in the process of replacing one VFD at Lift Station 2 for the one that failed under an emergency thing. They will be done with that one on Friday. We will start it up and run it. And then the other VFD that I have there, the second, that will complete the upgrade to that lift station. So that one will be completely done. We won't need to do that one. The only ones we will have left is lift station 1, 3, and the pumps that pump the water to the golf course will need to be upgraded, but we can do that at a later time. The lift station number 4 VFD that you see there, that is the one that actually pumps water up to the water treatment plant. That one we pretty much need to get that one done, because we've had, in the last month, we've had that thing break down twice, and we've had to temporarily fix it. We've had to go get, and it's a little fan that breaks it down, that shuts it off. So we've had to go to junk parts that we've had and pull them off there. And luckily we got it up and running to make water. And then the SCADA computer inside, this is the actual SCADA computer that is inside the water treatment plant that actually runs the plant. It talks to the PLCs, it tells it what to do. That, and then a new operations laptop where I can remotely log into that and see what's going on daily. And we possibly, if we need to, we may possibly be able to log in from my house and run the plant with one person there, one operator there. He is in training. The new operator's in training, doing very well. He's come a long way in like probably 3 weeks. He's a quick learner. I'm very impressed by him. And that SCADA computers, it has to be built by, it would be either Tesco or Calcon, whoever we choose. We'll get quotes for it, of course, but that's just a rough estimate. And then a vibroplate compactor is actually, so we can start doing our own repairs. We don't have to go out and sub out to other contractors that would charge us $7,500 to $10,000 to come up and do something that me and my crew can do to fix a pinhole in a water, in a water main or something. We can do that. So that would be a major cost savings right there for a little bit of money spent. And that would be to pack the base rock down, then to come back and do a hot mix over the hole that we dug and cover that back up. So that's what that would be. And then, of course, when you do that kind of work, you need safety equipment to keep the guys safe, to detour traffic and stuff. So the district right now has next to none. They have we have 2 stop signs that the guys stand out there. You've probably seen us down on Ward Avenue when we're doing repair work to that, when we're cleaning out the lift station lines. So that would be just for like signs, cones, delineators and stuff like that we need to purchase. Are there any questions?
I have one. Have you included in this, is it Calquam? What did you call it? What, instead of Tesco, it's Cal what?
Calcon,
Calcon.
they are out of San Ramon.
Right. Can you add to this budget the 3,000 that we talked about for their initial
Right.
assessment? And
Yes.
and then we will also want to discuss all of that, but we should
Okay.
add that into this as well.
Right. And I wasn't sure how we were going to go about this. I will do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay. So again, this is a very raw budget, and I want to thank Ron and Ashley for throwing it together quickly. But you know, we've been dealing with a lot of fires lately, so this is good that we've gotten this. This is our first budget, so we can, if board members are looking over things, feel free to email Ron and discuss any line items that you're wanting to discuss. And we're going to have a better, clearer budget by the next meeting where we'll feel more comfortable before putting it up for a vote.
Sounds good. I definitely want some time to look it over thoroughly.
Cool. And then, Ron, I believe that you had another report to speak to the community about that E. coli issue.
Yes, few weeks, actually a couple meetings ago, it was brought to my attention that there was that we had E. coli in our water, and that report was coming off of the consumer confidence report that I now have a copy of. And this report, you need to understand that this report was from stuff that happened back in 2020. That's not this year. It's not January this year. The state requires us, when we do this report, there are certain verbiage that we have to include in our consumer confidence report. And that verbiage on the E. coli is some of that verbiage. We did not have a E. coli outbreak. We did not have if we did, the state would have put us under mandatory boil water orders. We did not have one. The table that the resident was referring to, every resident should have got this consumer confidence report. Those tables say, I mean, how many detections did you have in the year? Every one of those tables have a 0 in them. 0 is none. I mean, I don't know where the rumor came from or anything else. I don't care. I take great pride in what I do, and for rumors to get out like that and stuff, it's really disheartening. But I wanted to answer that in a public forum that we did not have an E. coli outbreak. I can't stress that enough, because that's serious stuff.
And basically, am I correct that if we would have had an E. coli outbreak, you would have been going door to door, our staff would have been going door to door and hanging door knockers out saying boil water? It would be that big of a deal.
That is correct. We would have went door to door. On the minute that they detected, I would have called the state. They would have told me, this is what you have to do, boil water order. They would have probably announced it on the television and everything else. So, we have enough stuff going on up here that we don't need added to it. So that enough said about that. We did not have an E. coli outbreak.
Excellent.
Okay. And there is one more thing. In the last meeting, a resident asked me about we are watering the parks with the water from our backwash system. The data that I had was 2.5 years old. So what I've done is I since took a new sample and sent it to the lab. And as soon as I get that sample back, I will give it to Mr. Blessing so he can post it on the website. I don't want her to think that I forgot about that. It is at the lab getting tested. So within a week, 10 days, it will be up there.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, and then I have a report, and that is if you see our trucks driving around, you will see that they now have California exempt plates on them. I have no idea why previous boards were paying thousands of dollars a year for DMV fees on our vehicles and all of our vehicles. But I went down to the DMV and we now have all exempt plates on our vehicles. So it's saving the district a couple $1,000s a year for licensing and smogging all the vehicles. So I just want everybody to know that, and including the board members, that we now have exempt plates on the vehicles.
That's
So
really good
that's
cleanup.
done.
There's so much cleanup like that.
Yes, we are cleaning it up. All right, anybody else, any other directors have a report to make?
Gary has his hand up.
Oh, Gary. Mr. Rojas.
He's muted.
There we go.
Nope.
Nope.
Gary, we have to unmute you, so don't click the button. It keeps I'm not gonna touch it. It keeps changing out from underneath my mouse. Sorry, Gary.
Here, I'll
Krista,
try.
why don't you
Let me try.
be the one?
There we go.
There he goes.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, Ron, thank you very much
Yes.
for the information, man. I mean, it's great having you on these calls. I think I'm personally learning a lot about how things work, and everything that you're sharing is great knowledge. I did have a question, guys, regarding the budget. I did see the line item where it said vineyards. Are we watering the vineyards? And if so, how is that being paid for?
Yeah, if you notice that we had to line out golf course water, and I believe the Vineyards is an Angels Crossing situation for the vineyards that they own. And again, they're not paying their water bills, so they're not getting watered. We do have the property that is owned by Mr. Saunders, I believe, and that is the Vineyards. When you're coming up the Parkway, headed towards the Morton Davis, on the right-hand side, there's a small vineyard right behind Saracen Court. Those are not owned by Angels Crossing. Those are owned by a gentleman, and I do not believe that he is paying for water. Ron and I, we've discussed that, and he was going to look into that meter to find out last time it was billed. But that's a complicated one. We don't know if World was paying for that water at one point, but we know that is a private owned parcel. So I'm not quite sure how to answer that question at the moment. But we were actually talking about that today. But as far as the other vineyards, I believe those are Angels Crossing land, or I don't know. My mind is I don't remember where World stops and Angels Crossing begins. It's a very complicated situation with the way the lands are deeded right at the moment. So the simple question is they're not being watered because nobody's paying that bill.
Very good. Thank you very much, guys.
No problem.
Thank you, Gary.
We have an iPhone.
Hi, so this budget is really difficult to read the way you guys have it. Is there a reason why the board packet is not made available to the community before these meetings like it's supposed to be with the agenda?
The agenda is provided. The board packet is provided afterwards.
We actually haven't seen a board packet in a few months, and the agenda was posted 24 hours before this meeting, not 72.
Actually,
I just
it
want to
was,
make sure that we're not missing something.
yeah, so just so you know, the agenda was posted on the website 24 hours before. However, it is posted at the front gate, and the sign is and was placed up 72 hours before. It was actually placed up last Friday at about 2:30 p.m. at the guard gate. So we actually fulfilled our mandated responsibility on that. I apologize that it did not get up onto the website, except for just within the last 24 hours. We will do better next time on that one. My apologies.
And then
As far
are we,
as,
yeah, the
go ahead.
board packet is a situation as well. Is there a reason why we're not receiving that before these calls?
I think generally the issue is because when you had a public meeting in a public meeting place, there were copies of everything that was available. With the switch over to having it via Zoom, there is no physical location. I think moving forward, I think the board should make a handful of packets available at the office, and if somebody wants to come pick them up, they can come pick them up there.
Noted. Okay, iPhone
She's
still
back on
has,
mute. I'm not sure if she's finished. Yeah, she is.
okay, and Andrea,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. One, I want to address the E. coli issue, and I believe it's Ron. Thank you for clarifying that. But I had mentioned it in a couple meetings back. It was not a rumor. I just want to clarify. I received the letter just like everyone else, and I was confused and didn't understand it properly. So I was asking for clarification at that time. So I don't know if there was a rumor or not, but I just wanted to clarify that I had questions about it. I didn't hear it from anyone else. I just got it and I thought, let me read it and you can help me understand it better, which you did. And I appreciate that. So,
okay, there was a rumor because certain individuals were sent home from their job that they do because of an E. coli outbreak. And that in fact did not happen. So, and I'm just going to leave it right there.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't hear anything about it. I brought it up because I got that letter at that time.
Okay.
The other question I have is, are you guys let me ask you this. Are you guys going to be asking any other questions? Because a question I have does not pertain to what you guys talked about.
We're gonna open it up for open discussions. Actually, we can do that right now. Hang on. Let me just, is there anybody else that had a report? Board members. Okay, then I'm going to move on to the public comments on items not on the agenda. So let's just open it up for interested persons in the audience. And Andrea, you can go first.
Okay, yes. So in the past meetings, we talked about foreclosure on Angels Crossing and World's properties. My question to you, and you can help me understand this better. If, for instance, let's just say the properties are foreclosed and that they're presented at auction for sale. If no developer comes forth and nobody purchased those parcels or those properties, what happens then? Does they go back to World and Angels Crossing?
David, would you like to answer that, or Julie?
I can't exactly speak to that. I don't believe that they go back. I think that if there is no if there is no bid that's acceptable, and Julie, you can correct me, I believe that they get redeemed by the water district to be held for sale.
Yes.
Okay. And I kind of thought that too, but Julie, maybe you can help me understand this too, this part, because I had spoken to Andrew over at the bonds. Well, actually he handles the Mellorews, and he basically informed me that because it is land, it's set up a little bit different, that will not happen, that they would get the property back. So I was a little concerned about that and thought I would ask you guys because I don't know what the plan is at this point.
Well, the board hasn't really come up with a plan because we're going through the process still. So since this is an ongoing process, I guess that'll have to be something that comes out later. But it's not, that wouldn't be true, that it would have to go back to World or Angels Crossing. That's not necessarily the case. So I'm not sure if that helps answer, since this is an ongoing process, the board will be discussing that as we get closer to the foreclosure date.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that it's not like this process of doing this is just a waste of money for the community and also the district.
No, absolutely not a waste of money.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
If I can just add real quick to that, aren't we compelled to do this at this point? It doesn't really matter whether it's a waste or not. We have to legally do this.
Absolutely.
Correct. Absolutely. Good point, Chris.
Legally bound to
Well,
do so.
we could sit here and wait for these guys to come up with a penny the rest of our lives, or we can do something about it. That's another.
Agreed.
Just trying to make a little point.
Mhm.
That's a big point. That's not a little one.
Yeah.
All right. We have an iPhone again.
Yes, hi there. A really good question in regards to the November 2nd election that's coming up. What are the district's plans to announce any information in regards to that to the community?
David?
Yeah, I can handle that. At this point in time, the water district no longer conducts its own elections. It's all going to be through the Stanislaus County Elections Department. We are waiting on them to set basically a date for when that election is going to be with the recent conversion from a landowner to a resident voting district. So as soon as that information is known, that information will be provided to the public.
And what time frame is that election expected to be in?
I don't know.
So in regards to the switch over to residential from the landowner, was that disclosed to the residents signing this petition that this would forego our election process in November and withheld from us again?
I can't speak to that. I don't know what was on. I can't say as I sit here what was on the petition. I don't know that it was required, but.
It wasn't required to disclose that we won't have an election and won't be allowed to vote if we switch over to resident?
I do not know, and I don't know what was put in the petition, frankly.
Okay. It seems to me that it's a pretty big thing to leave off of the petition and impact the community in such a manner. I just want to make sure that's on record.
I believe it was community members that were responsible for that petition, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. We had nothing to do with the
It had
petition.
nothing, this is not a district matter.
Of course, right. All right,
Of course.
we will be
No,
contacting,
no, no,
I
no.
guess, the community.
No. Miss iPhone, that's not okay to laugh and snicker like that. It is a fact that the board of directors had nothing to do with that petition. We had nothing to do with it. The community signed a petition and sent it off to the voter of registrar, and that is where that went. So we had nothing to do with that. So it's not really a laughing matter. It's a very serious matter. Just want to make that clear.
Oh, right. No, it's absolutely not a laughing matter. It's actually quite disappointing that this is where we're at right now, that another election has been taken away from this community. That's all I have to say.
I'm sorry, how has the election been taken away?
Yeah, I was trying to
I
figure that
have
out
to ask
myself.
to have that be clarified. Yeah.
Pretty sure the county's just gonna run the election and they'll do it when they do it.
Correct.
And this community will finally have a voice to be able to elect correctly
Correct.
for the first
Correct.
time.
Correct. All right, Mr. Dane.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I just wanted to come on, just give a brief introduction and give you some information. My name is Dane Wadley. I'm a field rep with the California Special Districts Association. We're a membership association for special districts. I'm the field rep for CSDA for Stanislaus County. And just trying to do some outreach on some things that are applicable to you guys as a special district, some money basically that's made available to special districts through the state budget that was recently passed. And I can obviously, I know I'm kind of talking quick here and all this, and I'm happy to follow up with you guys, offline and tomorrow and send you some more information. But there's some pots of money that have been made available specifically to special districts and water districts like you guys to help deal with the impacts of COVID-19 on districts. So obviously there's been a significant impact to districts, whether it be revenue losses or new expenses, or in the case of water districts, we've seen a lot of arrearages, as they're called, kind of unpaid water bills, right, that have been kind of accumulating and due to the pandemic, right, people not being able to pay their bills. So anyways, there was throughout the pandemic, there was a lot of the relief measures that were passed left out special districts. And so we as CSDA, as an advocacy association in Sacramento and DC for you guys and other special districts, were able to change that and get some money allocated, like I said, in the state budget that was just signed into law, a few weeks back. So I just, like I said, wanted to at least just give you some information about that, and I'll follow up tomorrow with some more. And there's going to be like an application process where districts can try to access this money. So obviously I didn't, want, you guys in Stanislaus County or any district really to to be left out and at least not be aware of it. So hence
Thank
the
you.
purpose for my public comments, and I'll follow up, and thank you for a few minutes.
Hey, thank you very much for that.
So
We look
much.
forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, before I adjourn the meeting, I just want to remind everybody on here that the sheriff is going to be over at the firehouse at, is it 7 o'clock, I believe?
7 p.m.
And we hope to see you guys there. If you have any questions for him, he will be there to answer all questions. So I encourage everybody who's interested to go over there, and we'll see you there. The next regular meeting will be Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. And a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, guys, we'll see you all later, and we might see you at the firehouse later. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You guys too.
Bye-bye.